Hello everybody, it is Broken What Ifer, and this will be my second video on YouTube, and it will be what if Deku had a transformation quirk, and he will be able to turn into anything that he very truly believes is fiction. If he believes someone that is real is fiction, but they are actually real, but he thinks that they are actually fiction, he will be able to turn into them. So, if he were to think All Might was just fiction, he would be able to turn into him. But as soon as the second that he learned that he was a real person, he would not be able to turn into that person. And I will give him the ability to mimic that person's personality if he wants to as well. So, he will eventually be able to turn into non-fictional characters, but he will only be able to do that for a split second, and in the most dire of situations. So, let's get into it. This starts when he was just a child. From birth, he showed signs of having a quirk. He would have constantly changing eye colors, and his hair would constantly change color as well to the person's eyes and hair color in the room, just at random, just going from one color to another. And they would name his quirk Color Shift. From birth, he thought that he could only change his eye color, but as he got older, one day the teacher in preschool was reading a book to the class, and he said, "Wow, it's pretty," and he thought it would be pretty cool to be that character. And he turned into that character, and then the teacher would scold him for using his quirk, but at the same time, she would be amazed that he turned into the character from the book, because everyone just thought that he could change his eye color and his hair color. And then after school that day, he would be taken to the doctor by his mother, and they would see what quirk he has, and they would realize that he can turn into fictional characters, and they would name his quirk Fiction Shift, because he can turn into fictional characters. And I would say that he can't mimic the people's personalities yet, so he will not have that just yet. So, when he gets home, he'd be really excited that he can turn into fictional characters, and his mother would get him a lot of comic books so that he could expand his abilities to turn into people, and he'd be able to turn into. I'm going to give him the abilities from. One second, let me look up some popular mangas in Japan at the moment. I will give him the abilities of One Piece, the main character Luffy, which he can turn into rubber, and he will have the Gum Gum abilities, but and he will be weak to water and, well, water that's above his, knees in this, and I think it's the knees for the Devil Fruit users, and he will also have the abilities of Bleach and Full Metal Alchemist. But he will have to know how to use these abilities, so he will read most of the issues for the comics, and not for the comic books from America. I will give him Spawn and Ghost Rider and the Sentry. That is the 6 people he knows how to turn into. The main character from Bleach, the main character from Full Metal, and Spawn, the Sentry, and Ghost Rider. But he will have grown up not with Bakugo always bullying him, but with everyone praising him for his amazing quirk. He could turn into any fictional character, no matter how OP. And that's why, if he were to be a, I forget what they're called, matter of fact, I'm one of them, but I can't remember what it's called. It's not a religion, but it's the non-belief of religion. Atheism. If he were to be an atheist, he could turn into a god. Tell me in the comments if you want me to make him an atheist, where he does not believe in God. And I will not make him have the powers of Ben 10, because that's too OP, considering the fact. Actually, matter of fact, I'm not gonna make him an atheist, because, well, if he were to be an atheist, that would just be no fun. He'd just snap and all of his enemies would be gone. That's no fun. And there's no challenge in that. So I will make him have to train his quirk so that he doesn't lose control. Because if he were to lose control, everyone would be fucked. Extremely, severely fucked. Because Spawn is already overpowered, Ghost Rider is extremely overpowered, Bleach is strong, Luffy invulnerable to bullets, the Sentry, he's pretty much God himself, but that's besides the point. I will make him train at Dagba. Sorry, I have problems with English, even though it's my only language. Dagaba, whatever the crap beach that they train at in the anime with All Might, he's gonna train there for a lot, and while he's training, he notices a girl with dark blonde hair and silky smooth skin that is completely and utterly beautiful, walking by, and she notices him, and they catch a glance for a split second, and it happens to be Yaoyorozu, which is one of the few people that I can remember the name of from the anime. But back to the story. And when she looks at him, she sees a lean, tall, muscular boy that is utterly handsome. And I'm not giving him his baby face from the anime. That's stupid. I don't like people with baby faces. Just no. I don't like them. I don't like their face. I'm lucky they're... Sorry. And they catch a glance of one another, and Yaoyorozu continues to walk, but she thinks, wow, that boy is handsome, and he thinks, wow, that girl's beautiful. And they insinuate think, wow, it would be cool if we knew each other. And the next day, while he's training, he notices her watching him, but he just writes it off as him seeing things. But she actually just ducked behind a wall before he could get a full glance of her. So he thinks that he's just seen things, but in all actuality, I can't English at all today. But in all actuality, she was actually watching him train because he is just utterly beautiful, or handsome, I mean. And she does this every day and he will be training for the next week, and she can't stop herself but to go there and watch him train every day. And the next week, his father comes home, but he doesn't realize that his father is home. He just sees an unfamiliar pair of shoes at the front door. So he asks his mom if she has guests over, and she would say, yes, we do. And she would say, yes, we do. Look who's home. And he would have been, and his father would say, can't I see my son and wife after all these years? And Deku would go, oh yay, hello father, you're finally home from work. And his father would have been working overseas for many years, and he's just now getting home. And he would tell his mother that he's tired and going to go take a shower and go to sleep after he eats. And he would not have been given one for all in this. Someone else will get it. I don't know who I'll give it to, but I think I might give it to someone that usually doesn't get it. But, in the what if community. And he goes, where? And later that day, or later tomorrow, he will ask his son if he has a love interest or girlfriend, and Deku will say no, because he hasn't met anyone yet, and everyone thinks that he's too powerful and not of they're not worthy of him. So he'll have that whole conversation with his dad. I'm not gonna go into what he says because I don't care. I do care about the what if, I just don't care about the insignificant little tiny details. But his dad would say, good, because I have arranged a marriage with someone from my company. Well, not someone from my company that I work for. The owner of the company that I work for's daughter. We have arranged a marriage for you and his daughter. They are about the same age. And you guys can probably guess where I'm going with this. And at the Yaoyorozu family household, she would be laying on her bed thinking about that boy she sees at the beach every day. And a well-dressed man would walk into her room and say, Lady Momo, or I think that's her name, but Lady Momo, your father has come to see you. And she would get up going, yay, daddy home. And she would go downstairs and greet her father. And her father would say, I have arranged a marriage for you. And she would be saddened a little by this because she wouldn't be able to see her person of interest anymore. And he would say, I have arranged a marriage for you with one of my I forget what it's called, but underlings, essentially, in my company. One of my good friends. And she would be a little sad by this. And he would ask her if she would like to see a picture of him. And she would say, yes, please. And she would realize that it's the boy from the beach. And she would be giddy from this. And her father would ask her if she knows this boy. And she would answer, no, but I've seen him around town. And she would be happy and ask when could I meet him. And he said, maybe tomorrow. I'll have to arrange a meeting with my coworker, or not my coworker, with my friend. And he would proceed to call Deku's father and arrange a meeting. And in this, Deku can cook, and because of reasons later in the story, but they would meet later the next day, and when he gets home from grocery shopping that day, and he realized that there's only 2 hours until they arrive, because his father has already told him that he is going to meet his bride-to-be that day. So he will have been cooking, and when the Yaoyorozu family arrives, Momo would see a tall and muscular boy cooking with dark green hair in the kitchen, and think to herself, wow, he cannot as well as cook. That's a rare trait in this generation. And she would think, well, crap, losing my train of thought for a second, sorry. They would sit down and begin to eat, and they would introduce their children, the parents would. Mr. Yaoyorozu would introduce Momo, and Deku's father and mother would introduce Deku, and they would do the whole greeting thing that they do in Japan. I'm too lazy to actually see what the formal thing is and describe it. And they do that whole thing, and they sit down and eat, and they have a good time, and nothing really happens besides Deku asking Momo if she would like to go to a music festival together, and he has tickets, and he likes the whole rock thing. He has been influenced by there's a little bit of influence from the characters that he turns into, and he would have been influenced by the Ghost Rider and Spawn a little to be a little bit more dark and serious in this, but the Sentry would have made him a bit more light, not keeping him from going completely dark and just brooding, like Himo, like Ghost Rider and Spawn are. And he will have had a bike, and that's how he got the groceries. He can drive, he has a car, let me look up car names, a BMW Chevrolet. I don't know if that's an actual car, I'm just saying, a BMW car and a Harley Davidson Softail bobber. I think, Harley Davidson makes Softails, I'm pretty sure. I'm a bike person myself, if you would like to know. I'm just very tired at this moment. I woke up like barely an hour ago. And Momo says, sure. And they leave, and everything happens that would happen if you're meeting your bride-to-be in Japan. I don't know, but they leave. Momo asks, they get each other's number, and later that weekend, Momo asks him over text, what should I wear? Is there a dress code? And he says, no, there is no dress code, just wear something comfortable and fun. And he would have shown up on his Harley Davidson Softail bobber and picked her up and driven to the music festival. But before that happens, he'll ask her if she's hungry, and she will say yes. So they go to this one restaurant that is mostly run by Americans, because I'm an American and I want to put some Americans in this. America, yeah. And Deku would have gotten sit. I have a huge vocabulary, but I can't English. Fuck. But they sit down, and his friend that works there, because he as well as works there, is a part-time job to earn money, because motorcycles are awesome, and he wants more, like any normal person with a motorcycle. And his friend asks him, "Who is this lovely lady?" She's beautiful and American, of course, and Deku instantly replies, "She is my bride to be," in a fluent and America. And Momo is surprised by this because she did not think that he would know English. And his friend asks him if he would like him to get the old man, and Deku would reply, "No, we're just here to get something to eat before we go to a concert." And they sit down, and Deku says, "Order anything that you want, it's my treat." And then Yaoyorozu says, "How could you pay for me?" And then he proceeds to say, "Well, I'm the one taking you to the music festival. We might as well feed you too." So they eat, they pay, they get back on the motorcycle, and he drives carefully, considering he has his bride-to-be. And when they get there, she notices that it's full of American bands, most of which are singing in American, and he does know how to play bass and sing. And the bands that will have been there are 3 Days Grace, Godsmack, Five Finger Death Punch, and some other rock bands. And the bands and Five Finger Death Punch proceeds to pick one lucky random person from the crowd to have a song with them, and they pick Deku with the green, ever-changing hair. Because, actually no, I'm not gonna make his hair changing. He's learned how to control this, so I'm not gonna do that. But they choose Deku, and they tell him to come up there and play a song with them. And they would have asked him what song does he want to play and what instruments does he play, and he would respond instantly with bass guitar and lead vocals. So they give him a bass guitar and proceed to play "I Apologize." That is the name of the song. I am not apologizing for crap right at this moment, but I do apologize for all the not good English. And they proceed to play, and once the song is over, he jumps down off the stage, and the band asks him what is he doing for the rest of the concert, and he says, "I'm gonna spend the rest of the time with my girl." And Yaoyorozu proceeds to blush from this, even though she cannot understand the music. She's happy that she's there with her boyfriend or husband-to-be, and and a couple other bands ask him to play a couple songs with them, and considering the fact that he has a great voice, he sings like an angel, and he would have been and at the end of the concert, the last band to play would have told him that all the songs that we've played have been recorded and are being sold with the normal other songs. And the Five Finger Death Punch gives him a specially made bass for how good he sung. So, and the bass is signed by all of the band members. And he goes to his... Sorry, had a burp. Sorry about that pause there. I just had to listen to some of my bands. And as they're on the way home, while Deku was on the way home to drop Momo off at her house, when they get there, he is immensely surprised on how gigantic it is, because she's fucking rich as hell. And when he goes to drop her off at the front door, she tells him to close his eyes, and once he closes his eyes, he feels a soft pressure on his lips, and he opens his eyes to see Momo kissing him. And when she backs off, she says, "We're going to be married soon. We have to get used to kissing, don't we?" And she goes inside, he leaves, and he's still very flustered and confused. But he does realize that they are going to be married soon, so yeah. But this video is getting too long. I am going to have to end it off here. So, bye. I am sorry, I meant to say dark black hair, not dark blonde hair. When I was rewatching the video, I realized that I had said blonde, not black. So, sorry about that if you were confused. I apologize.